Hello, guys. Welcome. This is Heather Hope Reed, the Millionaire Manifestor, and I'm live. So, okay. Oops, we just had a technical difficulty for a second there, but we are back, and let's go see who joins us today. Okay. Welcome, welcome. I'm just doing a little bit of a screen share because I think it is easier to stay focused. Well, actually, that's pretty debatable if it's easier for me, but I think it works for me. Okay, let me know when you're here, and I am going to go over to my page. There we go. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and oops, let's go. Let's do this. Perfect. Okay. Welcome, guys. I'm glad you guys are here. I was not able to join in yesterday's live because my internet was weird. I know that my call ended abruptly on Sunday, so yesterday I don't know what happened, but today's a much better day. Today I am refreshed. You know, sometimes you just take a day off. You just don't sweat it, and you're just like, well, you know what? I think tomorrow will be better. Actually, it's not about I think tomorrow will be better. It's about becoming that powerful creator and knowing your power, and you say tomorrow will be a better day, right? We are the ones that are guiding our lives. So today I wanted to talk about this is totally, it says this is how you do it. Now that is so not the right thing to write. So can I edit that? Let me go ahead. Oh, I don't know if I can. Let's not screw things up, Heather. Anyway, it's about how to shift into the reality that you really want. Let me see if I can edit that and I'll keep talking. It's right here. How to shift it to the reality that you really want. Oops. Let's see. Okay, let's just keep moving on. I don't want to talk too much and about nothing really. Okay, let me know who's here. Say hi, where you're listening from, all that good stuff. And let me just put a picture up here so we can have something else to look at other than my screen. So, how to shift into the reality that you really want? Well, you're shifting all the time, right? Scientists and Bashar all say that we're shifting realities billions of times a second. It's just to more of the same. And so this is something to really keep in mind all the time is whatever you are focused on is what you are shifting into. So if you are focusing on more of the same, or you're focusing on the now moment of your life that you've been living, you get more of that. Does that make sense? So you get more of the same. So I call it Groundhog Day manifesting. So if you've watched the movie Groundhog Day, he relives the same day over and over and over and over. And once he realizes that the day keeps starting over on the same day, he changes different things throughout the day because he knows that he can. So then each day looks a little bit, it's still the same day, but it looks different. So what we don't want to do, if you don't like the life that you're currently living, what you don't want to do is keep looking at the life that you're currently living to create the same life tomorrow and the next day and the next day and next year, next decade, right? So I call that Groundhog Day manifesting. So we want to get out of the Groundhog Day loop that we're in, or some of us are in, and we want to shift more into the reality that we truly want. How do we do that? Well, we have to look at our thoughts first, right? We have to have different thoughts. So if we're continuously looking at the same thing, oh, my job sucks, it never changes, blah, 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 right? Then that's the reality that you keep living. So if you were to kind of speak into the future, so if you picture the reality that you really want to be living, say a different job that's like higher paying, or more responsibility, whatever it is, your career job, something more fun or whatever. So what you do is you visualize that job and you play around with that in your mind. And then you come up with some statements of it already being done, or that you are moving towards that. And you could say anything that suits you. You could say, well, I'm going to be working my dream job soon. Because right now you might be saying, I'm working my crappy job right now and I don't see a way out and I can't find another job and the job market is terrible and I hate interviewing too and all these other things, right? That's what I call regular human thinking. And what we don't want to do is be a regular human. We want to step into the powerful creator that we really are. So what you do is you go in your mind of your future and then you say the statements of your future self. I love my new job. I love that I get paid more. I love that it was so easy to find. I'm so happy that they found me. Whatever it is, whatever that it is that you are creating, you want to start with your thoughts because you can't get where you want to be if your thoughts are still the same in the same reality. Does that make sense? So you have to figure out, well, first of all, you have to figure out what you want. What is it that you want? Do you want the better paying job? Do you want to work from home? Do you want to start your own business? Whatever it is, doesn't matter. You just have to know what it is, make a decision, and then line up your thoughts about it. And so don't ever say the job market is terrible. Nobody ever pays enough. Managers don't know how to do anything. Bosses are crappy. Like you have to get out of that negative mindset. I don't know how many of you have that negative mindset, but you got to stop because you're just creating the same reality over and over. So the reality all comes from you. Whatever you are saying is, it is. Whatever you are saying now is, like it is truth for you in your reality. So you have to go in the future and think like your future self that already has that. And then you allow the 3D reality to conform to your new thoughts. It is as easy as that. Now, the part that is not so easy all the time is actually doing it and being consistent with it until your reality changes the way that you want it to. The fastest way to get there is to truly be all in with your mind and your thoughts. Go all in. Be completely, what's the right word? Be completely in with all your thoughts. Take the time every day to be there in your thoughts throughout the day. No matter what you're seeing in your 3D, that is not what you want. You tell yourself what you are living in your mind. Let me know if something's not clicking or anything like that. Let me see. Let me just double check if we have any comments because I don't always get to see them wherever I am. Let's go back. So in the meantime, let me know how I can help you today. I'll be here for a little while. And yeah, so you'll see that I do have it linked. It's my latest program, which is the Manifesting Zone. $7 a month membership. And this is precisely what we talk about helping. I help my clients get their thoughts in alignment with their desires, their thoughts, their stories, and then helping them develop a new self-concept. So because whatever you think about yourself is how the world reflects back to you. And that's really, really important. So join us in there. I go live every week and you have the private group and all the other bonuses and stuff that's in it. Okay. And speaking of the devil, somebody just signed up. I just got the notification. That is really cool. Richard joined us. Very first time we had a live person. You're all alive, I hope. Welcome, Richard. I'll get you in the group in just a little bit. Okay, so where were we? Let me know if you guys have any questions, any actual specifics that you need help with today. But we're going to keep talking about Well, first of all, it's always okay. So one of the things I always have my clients do is figure out what the heck they want. Sometimes people don't know what they want. Sometimes. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, depending on the complexity of it. But just say more money, because I know most of you follow me, probably all of you, because of the name of my page, the Millionaire Manifester. You know, I can tell you the quick story of how I created this page. I created it through all inspiration 4.5 years ago, and I was really into Napoleon Hill and, of course, Esther Hicks and Jerry Hicks, Abraham Hicks, um, and some others. And I was just really inspired I wanted to inspire 1 million people to become millionaires, inspire in any way that I can. And the reason for that was I remember, I think my husband looked up at the time. I remember sitting on my couch in Arizona, and we were sitting there, and he read something about Napoleon Hill, or I did, one of us did, and it said, it must have been me, couldn't have been him, it was me, that he is kind of responsible for helping the most amount of people become millionaires with his work. And in that moment, I had this light bulb moment, or light bulb, going on of, I want to help as many people as I can. And so it was inspired through all these people, and so I got the name the Millionaire Manifester, and here we are. So probably everybody follows me for wanting to manifest more money. And I used to be a money and business coach specifically for a couple of years, and now I coach on everything because I've been a coach for everything, and I have manifested everything in my life, like all the areas. So now I cover all of the areas of manifesting, and because it's all the same. Once you know how to manifest one thing, you really just translate it to another topic, and there you go. Okay, so let's talk about money. Because who couldn't use more money, right? So, say you want a certain income. We can talk about income. And one of the things I do ask people is when they want more money, I'm like, do you want it from your business, or do you just want money, just want money? And a lot of times it can be both. If they're a business owner, then it's usually both. Sometimes it's just business. But so let's say you want to earn more. Let's say you do have a business and you want to earn more. Say you're earning like $1,000 a month. So, and you want to get to $10,000 months. What would you say? So you write this down and you say, okay, so my business, I want to make $10,000 a month. Okay, great. So you write down a couple of statements. Like, as that person who makes $10,000 a month, what would you be saying? Like, sit in that for a little bit. Because I think this is the most important way to create affirmations that you're going to use. These are just new thoughts. Affirmations are new thoughts that you're going to think like the person that has it already. Because, right? Because our mind, our thoughts have to be kind of in the quote unquote future. And then your 3D will conform and like catch up. The 3D has to catch up to where you are in your mind. So you have to be there first. You can't get there any other way. So you say, what would you say? I make $10,000 a month. Like, that's a very simple. They don't have to be complicated. Please don't make affirmations complicated. Don't make them so wordy, because they're just, you want it to come out real quick. You know how you talk, right? So I make $10,000 a month. My business makes $10,000 a month. I love making $10,000 a month. It's so awesome to make six figures, like any of these new thoughts. So you write a couple of them down. You can write a bunch of them down, but choose a couple that really speak to you. Like, think about how you think now. So if you were to say, I make $1,000 a month now, you probably say, I only make $1,000 a month, right? That's probably not a good thing to think about, right? So you say, I make $10,000 a month. Very simple. So what you do is, throughout the day, you remind yourself that you're making $10,000 a month. And think about that. Like, I make $10,000. That's so cool. It's so cool. I make $10,000 a month. I'm so happy that I got here. And you can throw in some random thoughts of like, God, it was so easy. Make it easy, right? Don't make this harder than it needs to be. Remember that you're the one who's putting the roadblocks or the road, what are they called? I keep talking about them. Road, I almost drove down the street. There's a story that I said the other day of how there's a street where I live and I drove down it one day and there's all these speed bumps. And I'm like, why do we have so many speed bumps on this road? I'm sure there's a reason. But in that moment, I'm like, this is stupid and ridiculous, right? So, but it makes me remember that based on what we're saying or thinking or believing, we are either creating more speed bumps or we're creating streets that have none. Does that make sense? So we create the circumstances. So if you say, oh my God, it's going to be so difficult to make $10,000 a month, it's going to be so much more work, right? A lot of people would think that, automatically think that, right? So like I was on the phone with my friend yesterday who he had texted me saying, I want to make $20,000 weeks. I'm like, okay, cool. And so it made me start thinking because, you know, he brings his money in through his business and so I started sitting here thinking about it because I'm thinking, well, if he wants to make $20,000 weeks and he's around 10, just under 10, I think, $1,000 weeks, I'm like, that's a lot more work, right? And me, I'm like, I want to do less work. So I don't like to add more work, right? So like an affirmation that I do not say anymore is money making opportunities or easily come my way or something. Money making opportunities. That sounds like work. And I'm like, let's clean that up a little bit, right? Because whatever you actually affirm will literally come true if you affirm it enough or if there's no resistance around it. So I'm like, no, I don't want any more opportunities, which sound like work to me, right? So you have to really be specific with you and your thinking and your beliefs. So I'm sitting here like, he wants to make $20,000 weeks. That's like double what he's making. So that means double the work, honestly, for his business. So I'm like, just call me so we can actually talk this through. And so I asked him, do you want $20,000 weeks in your business or do you actually just want money to come to you without? Well, for him, he's not really a manifesting student. He learns along the way. He's just a personal friend of mine. So been, learning kind of along the way, but he's still like half human thinking of how things are, right? So I'm thinking you don't have to work, but one day soon he's going to sell his business. So I'm sure on the books it would look nice to have $20,000 weeks. So I'm thinking, okay, this will line up fine with the story that we have. So, but you have to specify. Do you want to manifest, and it kind of doesn't matter either because I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, I make $10,000 weeks or whatever," and then money comes to them in other ways that they didn't have to work for it. So it doesn't always have to be so particular or so, it can just happen anyway. So sometimes these affirmations are so powerful that it is so literal. Sometimes it doesn't matter. So you kind of just decipher it as you go along. Okay. So, hi, Sabrina. I didn't get back to you yet. Sorry. I've been so busy. Um, so so what you do, okay, right? So we're talking about 20,000 or not $20,000 weeks, but we're talking about $10,000 months, right? So we choose those thoughts. I really like making. I love whatever it is that you would say. Sit with that. Write them down. Don't get affirmations from books and other people. Really just use your own language because you're going to resonate with it. Don't get so elaborate. You can if you want to. I just personally am like, just speak the way that you would speak. Think the way you would speak or think, right? So I like making, I make $10,000, and then you can have like inner conversations or, some sort of visual of when somebody asks you, like, say you're going to go, I do this myself, say you're going to go buy a car or you're going to get a new apartment or whatever, and people ask for your salary, right? And so this is what I do, these conversations in my head of, oh, say you go get an apartment or a new car or whatever, and they're like, what's your income? And you're like, I make $10,000 a month. Well, obviously you may say, well, I make $120,000 a year. Same difference, right? How does that feel? That's pretty freaking cool, right? Whatever, wherever you are, some people are at $10,000 months, but say you're not. Say you want to be at, I can tell you mine. I grew into this number, and then sometimes I go around, but I mean, I had $30,000 months and then $50,000 months that I affirmed for. Now I'm at $135,000 months. So you go wherever you want to go, whatever makes sense for you. $135,000 a month for me makes sense. But I grew into that vision with other visions. And so as you play along, you go bigger, right? I mean, if you're a big thinker, which you probably are because you follow me. So, and I pretty much attract all big thinkers in the world. So, like bigger than me. Like a lot of my clients are bigger thinkers than me, which is wild. Okay. So, like I said, there's a link in the down below or up below, wherever you are, there's a link for the Manifesting Zone. And the Manifesting Zone is my newest membership. It's in my mind, I created it for the beginner. Did truly because of all the people that I was coaching, like new clients that come in. So many of them are telling me the exact same stuff and not truly understanding that your thoughts, all your thoughts matter. And they all have potential to manifest. Every single one of them has potential, right? Thank God for potential, because if they all manifested, we'd all be in trouble, right? There'd be too much going on, way too busy. So, but a lot of people, and myself included, not too long ago, did not realize that all my thoughts mattered. And by the comments that I get and the messages I get and the new clients that I get, I'm not alone. So it's all about really training your mind to think a different way, the way that you want it to be, the life that you want to manifest. And also, of course, getting into the stories that you have about things. Like when I mentioned, like my husband does this sometimes. Like he'll look at the schedule at his job and he looks at to see who he is working with, right? And so then he has all these stories about all these people. This person slacks off. This person sits on their phone all day. This person is a really good worker. This person, so based upon all of that information, he has a story of how his day is going to be. I sit here and I'm just looking at him like, I know you know this stuff. He knows this stuff so well because he listens to me. Yes, I have a husband who absolutely listens to me. So he says he likes me. That's why. So, and he knows this because he tells everybody. He's like this mindset coach out in the world, actually telling just random people all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, you have guts to actually just say this stuff to people. But so I'm sitting here like, how do you want your day to go? And so, because he already has a story about all these people. And I said, well, you can change the story about all these people and just say that they're all really cool people to work with and they all get their job, they all work together and right? Could do that. As humans, as we have been conditioned, right? We weren't conditioned to necessarily look at everything with rose-colored glasses, right? By the way, get some rose-colored glasses. I had them for a while. When I lived in Arizona a few years ago, I had rose-colored glasses, and oh my goodness, it makes everything look so much prettier. So it's a good tip. But in which then, of course, when things look pretty, it's pretty positive, right? So anyway, so I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, okay, so this is what I have trained him and my other people in my personal life too, of how do you want your day to go? And so he says it. He starts planning in his mind, right? This is pre-paving basically from Abraham of this is how I want my day to go. I'm going to do this and this and this. I'm going to get it all done. I'm going to get all my work done. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fast. It's going to be efficient. Everybody's going to work together, all this stuff. At the end of the night, I pick him up. I'm like, how is work? He goes, 3 days in a row, he said this because he's actually doing this. He said, it went exactly how I said it. I wanted it to be. And I'm like, perfect. There you go. This is how you create your life. You just say what it is that you want. That's all you have to do. So I think I mentioned, I said it in yesterday's call. I have 2 memberships right now, the Powerful Creator Society, which is more the advanced group. and then the manifesting zone. So yesterday I was talking to the Powerful Creator Society, and I was telling them that I'm in this one business group on like basically how to create memberships. And I was talking to this one girl who is creating a membership around menopause and like goal setting and manifestation and stuff. I'm not quite exactly sure what the heck she's doing, but I'm not exactly sure she knows either. So she's just like, I'm like, so what's this? Because she's trying to name it. And I've got 5 memberships in this, in the downline here. I've got 3 more to open up this year on topic specifics. So, business, SP, love, and health. And I've had memberships in the past. And so I'm like, so what is this membership about? And she's like telling me about manifestation, menopause, goal setting, all this stuff. And these are all the methods that she like healthy eating and EFT and all these other things, to help people manifest or whatever. And I said, oh, that's cool. And I said, I'm a manifestation coach and I just skip all of that. I skip it all. Of all the techniques that a lot of teachers are teaching, that you have to, I've heard a lot of people say that you need to do this and you have to do that in order to manifest. And you don't. You have to do any of that. You don't have to tap on your head. You don't have to. You don't have to do any of that. You don't. You don't have to go to therapy. You don't have to rehash the past. Like seriously, don't do that. That's just ridiculous. Um, so I said, I just say what it is I want, and then it happens. it's and I said, I just skip all the rest. I skip it all. I don't tell anybody they have to do anything. I do. I tell you that you have to change your thoughts. That's all you have to do. That's literally all you have to do is change your thoughts. Bypass all the other stuff. That's just busy work. And it's keeping you in states that you don't want to be in. Do you want to be in the healing state for a long time? Because most people will say you have to heal your past. No, you don't. You do not have to heal your past. Not at all. You shift into a reality where you don't even have a past to heal. How about that? Or because that would be probably more revision, or you step into a state that you are healed. Why? Because you're God. You're the freaking creator of your reality. Why do you have to heal anything? You're perfect. If you were to affirm that you are perfect, instead of saying shit like, oh, I need healing, I am screwed up, I've got this crazy past, I've got this, and this, I've got all of these disorders that humans have labeled me with. Remember, I just, God, that sounded so awful. I am a former psychotherapist. I've been in 3 PhD programs. I had a whole career working with the seriously mentally ill, including schizophrenia. So, which brought me over here to where we actually are delusional to create our reality. So, but I do not think or believe or know that we have to do any of that anymore. We don't have to. That is human thinking. That is not reality creation. Reality creation is focusing on what it is that you want and keeping your thoughts there. And so if you would just tell yourself that you are perfect, you do not need healing. I promise you. Because if you keep thinking you need healing, then you keep stepping into states or realities that you need healing. It's the long way. It's the long way to your manifestation. You don't need to be healed. You need to stop listening to humans that tell you that you need to be healed. That's what you need to do. So, life gets to be so much easier. You get to let go of all this garbage that you've been holding on to, because all these humans are running around like their heads are chopped off. Seriously, right? Because it's the blind leading the blind. Okay, let me get off my soapbox. So, you affirm, which are new thoughts, of the reality that you want to live. Let go of whatever you've been holding on to, like letting go of your thoughts about it. That's how you let go of something. You let go of the thought, like you stop thinking about it. You know that if you stop thinking about something, the memory goes away. If you stop rehashing the past, you won't remember it as much. And then, like the Powerful Creator Society, we get into revision, revising the past to change now, shifting reality, shifting timelines from the past to now, where you are literally choosing the past that you actually want to experience. So that's more advanced. I don't teach that stuff in the beginners because beginners will grab all this stuff and they get wobbly results because their thoughts aren't clear. You know what I mean? So I help people, manifesting SPs in the Powerful Creator Society because it's more advanced. Sorry. Not everybody knows about it either, especially my following. But so that's why I created the manifesting zone, because I want to help everybody get on the same page of, look, it's your thoughts and it's your stories, right? About yourself and about the people in your life, your boss, your husband, your wife. We all have stories about everybody and everything. We have stories about our car, right? We have stories about our house. We have stories about our hair. We have stories about everything. And all those stories just play out until we change the story. Like your car that has been a lemon for the past 10 years or a year or whatever is now fine. It's like healed. It doesn't need healing. It needs you to have better thoughts about your car. I promise you. I promise you, because I've done it. I've done this, especially with my car. I was having so many issues with my car, and I love my car so much. It's gotten me through so much, and it's been so good. All of a sudden, it just was like one thing after another, you know, those little things. And I'm sitting here like, well, this is weird. This is new. And so it's just because you focus on one problem, right? And there's thoughts with that. There's thoughts. We're human. We have all these thoughts. And there's a lot of us that are overthinkers or thinkers a lot. So it's like one thing and then another thing, right? And I have, even the strongest of the mindset will have a lingering thought here and there because we're awake all these hours, right? And we look at it. We're looking at things, right? Whatever we're looking at, we get more of. So you have to be careful where that is. So it was like one thing after another. And then I was like, no, I don't want car problems. No, 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 no. So I was like, no, my car is perfect. My car is amazing. I love my car. And I swear I haven't had any issues in months with my car. None. Nothing. Nothing. Same thing with, I was having issues with issues. I got pulled over like 3 times since I've been living in California. I've gotten pulled over like more times than I have in my entire life. And they were for the dumbest, tiniest little things just about my car. So like I had all these issues about my car. And then the cops started seeing the issues about my car, like a taillight out that I had no idea about, like a license plate cover that you can't have in California. These stupid little tiny things, right? And I'm like, I don't like this. And so it was recently driving through, because I drive through downtown Pismo Beach like twice a day for my husband. And like the police, man, I'm going to change the story. Don't worry. Change my story about that. But they get behind me. I just did it like 2 nights ago. I hate tailgaters, right? It's this thing. And so somebody was tailgating me like up close real quick. I immediately turned it was like 10 o'clock at night, turned my signal on and pulled right over. I do not tolerate people on my bumper. I don't tolerate it. Of course, because I'm mad about it, I get more of it, right? So I understand what I'm doing. But, you know, it's those things, I'm being human. And it is, sometimes it's hard not to react with stupid shit like that. So I didn't know it was a cop behind me. I just was annoyed in general because somebody was right behind me. And it's dark and it's a residential street and all this stuff. And I'm just like, I get like, we need space between cars. Like I have this thing where I want space. It's dark. I want space. You know what I mean? So I get a bit pissy about it. And so I didn't know it was a cop. I immediately, just my instinct was pull over. So I did. And I stopped. As soon as I was pulling over, I realized it was a cop. And I'm like, oh, well, isn't that cute? And so the cop hesitated because I made such a abrupt move. But luckily there was like a person right there on the curb, almost as if it looked like I was just like, oh, there she is. I got to pick her up, sort of situation. So I just sat there and I turned off my lights. I'm watching the cop leave. He hesitated a bit on that one, like, what's she doing? So I pretended I was picking this lady up. And so I wait for him to turn and I go back on the street because I'm just like, stop tailgating me. So I just don't tolerate it. So, but I have had this story for quite some years in Arizona of cops never see me. This is my point here. Cops never see me. And even all my road trips from Arizona to California and back, I rarely see a cop on the freeway. And so I've had this story going on for so long that cops never see me. And then all of a sudden I started having car issues and then the cops started noticing my car. And then the more I noticed that, but listen to this thing. Okay, this is the reason why the cop was right behind me 2 nights ago. I swear to God, this is the reason. The last time the cop pulled me over, I actually got a ticket. It's a fix-it ticket, so I have to turn it in because it was a taillight. He said, fix the taillight, bring it back in. It's been like 2 months now, Heather. So I had to bring it in. So I did fix it right away. But I have this ticket in my planner. I keep moving it to like the next week to bring it in. Well, that night, right before I left my house to go pick up my husband, I pulled the ticket out because it was sitting there. And I'm like, and I tried to read it. I couldn't read it because I couldn't read it. And I was looking at it, like actually putting my attention on this ticket. And I kind of thought, maybe you shouldn't be looking at this ticket, Heather, right? Whatever you focus on, you get more of. Literally, this is how it works, right? So that's when I get in my car, I go down to Pismo, and there's a cop right on my ass waiting for me to do something, right? Which is so stupid. So anyway, so after that, I was like, we're getting back to the story of cops never see me. They never see me. And so I affirm that now. So I drive through town and I'm like, cops never see me. They just don't see me. And guess what? They don't see me when I say that. You are the power. You are the power. Whatever you say goes. Test it out. Test it out because you are the power. Affirm that I am a powerful creator. Affirm that I am powerful. Affirm these things. Like one of the, some of the best affirmations for like self-concept in the beginning, the best things that I recommend is I'm a master of manifesting, or I'm a master at manifesting. I'm a master at this. I know everything there is to know about manifesting. Affirm that. I'm so good at manifesting. I manifest instantly. Now be careful with that one because I don't play around with that one. I manifest instantly because we're not perfect. And I manifested something that pretty instantly that I didn't care for, but I got out of it from my thoughts. So I say stuff like I manifest my desires instantly, or I manifest what I want so easily. Stuff like that. Play around with it. But definitely affirm that you're really good at this, because I know a lot of people that affirm the opposite, that I'm not good at this. I'm not good at manifesting. I'm not good at whatever, right? So check all of those thoughts. So with the manifesting zone, if you go to the page, the link, there's also a limited time lifetime membership. Lifetime. So you would be a member for the lifetime of the membership. And so far, my first membership of several years ago lasted 1.5 years. My Powerful Creator Society is just over the year mark now. We're creating more, so I'm going to be here for a while with all these memberships. So it's a lifetime membership, and you get a bonus coaching call with me. So check that out because it is an absolute steal of an offer. And you can also get a reduced rate coaching call. Even on top of that, you could add all the options and get 2 calls for an practically, basically you could for, I think it's $10 more than my hourly rate, not hourly rate, but you could get lifetime membership and 2 coaching calls for $10 more than 1 coaching call at my rate. That's actually really, I didn't think about that actually. That's a really good deal. You should jump on it. So, anyway, let's continue. Does anybody have any questions or anything they want to ask me? I just said the same thing twice. So, yeah. So, how do we shift into the reality that we really want? How do you shift into the reality that you really want to live? Keep your thoughts where you are in your mind. So you go there first in your mind, and your thoughts are, well, because we think all the time, right? So if you were somewhere else, say you want to manifest a house, a different house, you would be sitting wherever you are now. Let's say I'm sitting at my desk here. I would be thinking about my new house and say, I love my new house. I love my new office. I love the view that we have. I love that it was so easy. Oh, like, think all the thoughts that you would have. Do that a few times a day or all day. So if it's something that you really need to manifest right away, say money by a deadline, what you do is you focus completely on that until it manifests. You go all in. So I've learned this when my back was up against the wall on certain things, especially it was money typically. In the past, it was like, when you need a particular amount of money by a deadline or else sort of situation, what you do, and it's worked 100% of the time for me, is you don't waver. You don't wobble with your thoughts. You go all in because you have to. You have to. Like, at that point, I'm like, there is no room for doubt. There's no room. I go all in or I give up. That's all there is. There's no other option. So when the subject comes up, you're like, it's done. I got it. I got the money. It's done. I got the money. So there is zero. I promise you, I do not think a negative thought during that time. And so, like, even Esther asked Abraham, why do I shine in a crisis, right? Deadlines. And they're like, because it seems like we show up and you like challenges. You like that, I guess maybe the adrenaline. That's Esther, and it's mostly around her work and deadlines, and when something like blows up, or something, not blows up, but something like doesn't work out and she needs to fix it, that sort of thing. But when we're talking about manifesting money by a certain date, there's zero, like, in my opinion, there's zero room. If you really need that to manifest by that date, there's zero room for doubt. You go all in because you don't have a choice. And that's how I've done it. It's like, I don't have a choice. It's like, I go all in or I give up. So sometimes those things, I mean, the success rate is pretty high when it's something so drastic and dire and time sensitive, that rather than time, other things that are just like, oh, it would be nice to have that at some point in the future. You know what I mean? So there's like a lot of lax feeling there, like, oh, in the next few months we could move. We could literally move tomorrow, but we could also move next, the next 6 months. Or if the house that you want is on the market, then there's your chance to go all in with it, right? So a lot of times, because I know a lot of people want to manifest on a deadline. If you need to manifest on a deadline, zero room for wobbling or wavering or doubt. You cannot do it. And this is where you develop this really strong mindset. It's really good practice of being a conscious creator, but also having a really strong mindset. You do that enough, you're solid. It's like concrete. Like nothing can mess with you. When you stop wobbling and doubting and like allowing your emotions to take over. You know what I mean? I used to be a lot more emotional. I'm a lot less emotional now, which I love. I love that. Some people don't think that's a good thing. I do, because I used to be extremely emotional. I used to wobble all over the freaking place. I used to have depression for 25 years. So I'm really good when my emotions are stable. We talked about being emotionally balanced on Sunday's call. Emotionally balanced. Yeah, if something really is bothering me, or like pain or overwhelmment or something, I may have a moment to cry. I might. When things build up or something, then it's like I cry for like a moment, like not even that long anymore. And then I move on. It's fine. But, in the past, it was like everything overwhelmed me, everything bothered me, everything made me feel down and sad and way too much. I was overwhelmed all the time. And now I don't get that way anymore. So, because I developed a really strong mindset. And over time, you just don't react as much. You also don't care as much. Now that sounds kind of terrible, but I mean, Abraham talks about teaching us how to say I don't care. And it's really about non-reaction. Because if we stop reacting to our 3D would conform a lot quicker. Like we know that, right? When you stop reacting, like emotionally reacting to, like me, like talk about the tailgaters. Well, why does it keep happening? Because I keep emotionally reacting to it. I keep getting upset about it. I keep talking about it. I keep getting pissed off when somebody's on my bumper, right? If I did not care, if I let it go and did not care, it would stop happening, right? I get this emotional charge. Well, I need to stop talking about it. But it's a little thing compared to other things. You know what I mean? Now, tailgating, I don't think it's incredibly, well, I don't want to even say it. I think it's unsafe, but let's not go there. Like, let's stop with the story, right? Of it being unsafe, because that's not a good place to be, right? Talking about something that's happening that is unsafe. Good catch, right? So I'm going to start affirming that. And I do this on occasion, but then when it happens, it's like I react again. So then it comes back into my reality. So what do I have around me? Safe drivers. People respect my space. People respect me, whatever speed I want to go. If I want to go slower, people just go around me, because that's what I'm always thinking. If you want, because people think that they're going to get behind you that closely, like you're going to speed up. And me being a bit stubborn, I'm like, that just makes me want to, like, well, actually really just wants me to press on my brake, but I don't do that very often. But it makes me want to go slower. But in my mind, I'm like, go around, go around. And so what I will do in traffic is I will say, just go around me. Like in my mind or out loud, I just say, okay, go around me. You need to go around me. And sure enough, they will go around me. Like, because I am the operant power. I am the creator of my reality. So nothing's really happening to me. It's happening from me. So if I am like, oh my God, everybody's awful on the freeway. Well, Jesus, maybe I shouldn't drive on the freeway anymore, because it's not going to be fun. So now it's like, no, everybody drives normally. Everybody's, my reality for driving in California has always been good. Like, I don't buy into this society thinking of it's terrible here. I'd never experienced it. 25 years of traveling to LA and all over the place. I never really experienced it. Now, Phoenix, holy hell. It's a totally different place. But everybody has their own reality. There's not one reality that we're all living. Everybody's living their own reality, right? Because if I say that I don't have that, I don't really have any issues on the freeways in LA. In fact, they have gotten so much better, and I've spoken about that. Like, so much better. Like, where there's no traffic and no stopping and all that stuff, right? Whereas most people's realities about LA traffic, LA freeways, is like a disaster and Just don't even bother, right? There's one person um, who wrote a comment yesterday on my post about making $100,000 a month. And this person said, um, yes, a month, not a year, right? And this was for a month. And because she lives in California and it's, you need more to live here, something like that, right? And so I wrote a comment to her. Yes, definitely monthly. $100,000 a month is great. Um, I said, just make sure that you are changing the story, basically, of California and it not being expensive, right? Because the collective, everybody says it's expensive to live in California. Well, this is one of my topics I talk about of an example of we create our own reality. And over the years, I have created a reality where it's actually, in many ways, it's cheaper to live here than in Arizona. Actually, it's so many ways. That I actually manifested a few weeks ago, last month, I manifested that the gas was cheaper in San Francisco than it was in my small town in Arizona. It was cheaper. That has never happened. And I was in awe and shock, like really shock and awe, because I'm like, holy crap, I really did create a reality where it's cheaper here than Arizona. The whole world thinks that Arizona is so cheap to live in. Well, it used to be. It's not anymore. But because I kept getting pushback, which I loved. Every time I said I was moving to California, everybody in Arizona thinks that California is evil. And, anyway, that was really broad. But I loved the pushback because I'm like, I've done my research for 5 years before I moved here, and it's not. There's a couple of areas that is more, but overall, it's really from the little town right outside of Phoenix that I lived in for the last several years. That town, in many ways, cost more than living near the ocean. Like, I live next to the ocean. It's my reality. I created it based on my my wanting, my desire to live here and not it being super crazy, right? So I created this reality where gas is cheaper in San Francisco than it was in this town in Arizona. And I'm like, holy crap. Because normally it's about $1.30 less in Arizona. Around $1.30, $1.50 less. And here I found it cheaper. But it was like cheaper by like 5 or 10 cents or maybe a little bit more. That difference blew my mind. Blew my mind. I'm like, holy crap, I actually did it. I created a reality where it's cheaper to live here than it is in Arizona. That was years of ongoing changing my perception. Just changing the story. That's all I did was change the story. When you change the story, you change your perception. Your reality just conforms. It reflects back to the story that you have. If you say it's so incredibly expensive to live in California, guess what? All the circumstances, you created 15,000 speed bumps in the road of all prices that cost more than anywhere else, right? That's what you've done. I don't do shit like that. That's stupid. That's just like, as a conscious reality creator, I know not to do that. I know to change a story. What story do I want to live? I want to live a story where it's really incredibly inexpensive to live here. And I have done that. We moved here 3 years ago. We lived right at the ocean. 3 houses away from the ocean. Ocean view from every window. If you know me personally, you've seen all these pictures. Crazy. 2-bedroom, top portion of a house, right? They call it an apartment, but it's a house, right? So 3 in Pismo Beach, 3 years ago, $2,200 a month. Tell me where you can find that with that crazy amount of ocean views. 2-bedroom, right? The price increased just a little bit because it came up for rent again. We almost took it. But the bathroom is incredibly small, but still. $2,200, you can find a 2-bedroom where I just came from in Arizona and Phoenix. Actually, the quote unquote luxury apartments that I always lived in like Scottsdale and North Phoenix, costs that much, $2,200, and you're in a desert, not looking at an ocean, not living perfect weather year round. So you create your reality. And so often, though, you got to remember that it doesn't happen overnight. So many things will happen in an instant. They will. But so many things take a little bit more of your time. Why does it take time? Because your focus, because where you are focused. If you focus completely on the desire in the positive, it will manifest so much faster. That makes sense? Okay. Brandon asks, how do you change that story when you see so much evidence to the contrary? Well, it depends on, well, I don't want to say it depends on what it is, but you have to take your focus off of it. A lot of things are easier, right? A lot of things are easier. So, like, well, for instance, some of my clients who are manifesting like change in their spouse, well, their spouse is right in front of them, right? To be perfectly honest, I would have had a hard time in my previous marriage trying to manifest change from, or really it's just me changing realities, right? It's hard when you're looking at the person and you're still listening to the same stuff, but that's like on the hard end of things, in my opinion. And that may sound very limiting to some people, but when you're actually doing the work, it's like, it's challenging at best, right? Because some of these other stories can be challenging when it's not that dire. So changing the story, you have to keep changing the story. So you just focus on the new story. Or you can say things like, well, it's changing. It's changing. The story is changing right now. My reality is changing. It's conforming, or it has conformed. You say whatever you need to say to get to make yourself feel better in that moment. Like, so you're not feeling defeated. Because if you're looking at the same thing, I get it. I get it. You're looking at the same thing or the same reactions from somebody or something, and you're like, it hasn't conformed yet. You just keep telling yourself, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I know that my affirmations are working. And this is where practicing with other things, like I tell my clients all the time, when they're tackling like the big things, right? The quote unquote big things or the SP manifestation or something, I say to test it out with smaller things without resistance, especially with like manifesting people, manifest strangers. Like when you just meet people and then you have a new story with them, or thought transmission. You have something you want to unfold, or you want them to say something. You test it out with brand new people. You go to the sales clerk at the store or something, and you play in your head what it is that you want them to say. You imagine it or you hear it in your mind and watch it unfold. Then you know your power. So try things out. Start small, right? People usually say manifest a cup of coffee. Well, I mean, yeah, you could manifest whatever really makes sense for you. Test it out. The more that you see evidence in other things, the more you will know your power. And that's really the biggest thing, is knowing your power. Because when you know your power, then you know you can still sit in this new story. You can sit in your reality and have a new story. Does that make sense? So you just keep, and you could script it out every morning. You could say your affirmations about it. Live from the end throughout the day. Bask in what it's going to feel like when it manifests. If you need any more help than that, if you want to get specific, that's fine too. So, I think I have another one on here too. Speak what you seek until you see what you've said. That's a really good one. It's a little tongue twister. Speak what you seek until you see what you've said. In a nutshell, right? But yeah, when you practice with other things that don't have, like, start with things without resistance, and then you'll know your power. I had last year before we moved, I kept having a new story to share with my group every week, and it had to do with my house. There's a couple of manifestations that I just knew my power, and they were just the most random things. So there was one week, um, one time, the vertical blinds. We had in our dining room vertical blinds. They were old and whatever, but they were all over the place. Like they were out of place. You know how they are and they get annoying. And then you have to go over and like manually move them all because there's gaps. And like when you have a dog or a cat that runs through them all the time, creates all these gaps. Well, mine had so many gaps and it annoyed me because I didn't like, because it was next to the front door. So like I like privacy a lot. So I was annoyed all the time with these blinds because I constantly had to move them and they still weren't perfect. Remember this point, they still weren't perfect when I moved them. And then like a blow of wind from the AC would blow, a few around, or my dog would go through them again. So there was one day I walked up to them and I was so annoyed with them. And I said, I remember when these were all straight. That's all I said. And I said it one time, or maybe twice. I remember, this is just a natural thought. I had no, because Neville Goddard's I remember when technique, right? I use it in an opposite way. And I'll get to that in a minute. From experience, I use it in an opposite way. Well, this is the experience. This is what started me on the whole opposite of Neville on that one. I remember when these blinds were straight. Now, according to Neville, that would imply that they're not straight right now, right? And that's exactly what was the issue at the moment. Okay. I walk away. I was like, whatever, I don't care. But 2 days later, I went out in the dining room. They were perfectly straight. I'm like, what the fuck happened? Perfectly straight. Perfectly straight. I stood there in shock and I'm like, what the hell? So I go right over to my husband. I'm like, thinking he did something, but I'm like, we're home all the time together. This would have required a ladder and like time and me hearing this, like there's no way he did it. But I'm like, did you move the blinds? I immediately ran over to him. Did you move the blinds? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, come look at these blinds. They're perfect. And he's like, what did you do? And I'm like, all I said was I stood here and I said, I remember when the blinds were straight. And they remained straight for weeks until like one day, like one went out. I was in utter shock. Stuff like that. That is kind of a quote unquote small manifestation. But it shows you something. And I had something every week happen. But that was one. I started playing around with the I remember when technique, but in the opposite way. Neville talks about, I remember when I was poor, I didn't have any money, which would imply that you have money now. I didn't really resonate with that. I don't know. It just didn't feel natural to me. So I started using I remember when the opposite way because it worked in that instant. And it does work in that way for me. So remember that when somebody teaches you a technique, it's not set in stone that it's going to work or anything. So many things work. So you have to find your way in certain ways, in certain things. So the next week, actually I have 3 stories that were all house related, all one every week. So I got to share this little success story every week with my group. So one week we have these kitchen lights. And you know how kitchen lights are fluorescent lights, and you know how sometimes they flicker, or delayed when they're kind of going out? Well, there's a lot of them in the kitchen. And so there's 2 light switches, one on each entrance of the kitchen. And there was one night that I went into the kitchen and I flipped on the lights. They went on and then they turned off. So I flipped the lights again off. My and I said no. I'm my mind is thinking, I don't want any house problems. I don't need any problems right now. That's what I'm thinking. Like, no, I don't need it to be pitch dark. It was all the lights too. So that means it was even worse, right? Because there's like 8 or 12 or whatever fluorescent lights. So if they all went out, holy crap, let's not have a bigger issue than we need, right? So I said no. And I swear to God, I said something. This is actually what I said because I was stepping into my God state at that time. This was last summer, I think. I said, no, I am God and I want light, or let there be light. I literally said something like that. Let there be light. Not knowing if this was actually going to work, but I went over to the other light switch and I flipped them on and they went on. I was like, holy crap, it worked. This is the stuff to test these things out with, like small things, like, and it's funny, the electrical stuff works, all that stuff. So my last story of all this house stuff was my garage door opener was being a brat. I was having some issues with it, and there was this one moment I went outside and it wouldn't open. And I got angry. Now that's a reaction, right? But it doesn't really matter. Sometimes when you step in your power, and I used to teach this to my depressed clients when I was a therapist, I used to teach them to get angry because I learned later on, I learned when you go up that emotional guidance scale, it really helps, right? Depression is 23 or 22 on that list. Whatever the last one is depression. Anger is somewhere in the lower teens. Anger is better than depression. So I used to teach people to just get angry about things because it was better than depression. So I got angry with this thing because it was trapping me in my garage and I didn't want another issue. So I said, no, you're going to work. And I yelled at the machine. And I went back over to the clicker and I clicked it again and it opened. I'm like, that's right, you're going to work. And so anyway, I kept having those issues. But you step in your power more and more and you direct your life. And so often in those moments when you're firm, you get firm with who you are and what it is that you want. You direct your reality in that moment. You make things work. You don't say, "Oh my God, no, this is going to cost a fortune to fix." Oh my God. No, you don't take it the way that it is right now. Whatever that is, you say, "No, that's not correct. That's not right." If it's not like something like electrical or whatever I just showed, you just persist. You say, "No, not in my reality. This is not my reality. This is what it is I want. This is what I'm getting. This is what I already have." Whatever, however you want to word it. You step in your power. You direct your life, no one else. But it starts with your thoughts, obviously, because there's nowhere else to start, right? You're a thinking person. Everything is about the direction of your thought, period. Any other questions? Any other things? Like I said, you can join me. We did have one person join at the beginning of this call. Join me in the manifesting zone. $7 a month. You get it's actually a 10-part lesson of thoughts and stories and self-concept to guide you through the basics. Then we're going to do 3 to 4 coaching calls a month. It's 3 for sure. I'm debating on the other one. And other like planners and worksheets and workbooks and all these other bonuses that are in the course portal. You get that instantly. As soon as you sign up for $7, you get instant access. Like the most immediate access ever. You get the email and you get in, you can go through all the course stuff, and then you can watch the replays. And then Thursday evening at 5 p.m. Pacific, you can join me live and ask all your questions, get the support that you may need. We all need support. So from time to time, but this is what it's all really about, is helping you remember, well, really remember who you are. Remember how powerful. The whole reason why your thoughts are so powerful is because you are powerful. That's the only reason. Otherwise, your thoughts wouldn't matter, would they? And that's why people don't think their thoughts matter. And that's why I created the manifesting zone, because people don't think that their thoughts matter because they don't even know that they matter and that they are so powerful. But because, only because you're so powerful, your thoughts are powerful. And all the stories that you have related about every single freaking thing, right? Everything's a story. Changing the story to change your life. And then, of course, self concept, which is the other thing that I teach a lot about. Of really, I was telling a personal friend the other day, of because my new friends in California are trying to figure out what I do for a living, and that's been complicated, but they're all on board with this, so that's cool. So I'm creating more friends that are understanding this, and so one guy was like talking about something, his confidence level. And I said, that's a big thing that I teach my clients, is to be basically more confident. But I said, I want them to think that this may sound arrogant, or which Abraham teaches arrogance, or slight arrogance or borderline arrogance of just feeling really good about yourself. But I help my clients get to the point where they really feel like they're the most beautiful person in the room, or the most beautiful person in their reality, in their world, that they are the smartest, the best, the most accomplished, the most successful. They are the best human walking around. That may sound conceited. It doesn't matter, because your reality is all about you. It's not about anyone else. It's only you. So the higher you can feel about yourself, the better your reality will reflect back. Like, affirm that, every room I walk into, I'm treated like a VIP. Everybody bends over backwards to help me. There's this post I was going to write. Excuse me, I forgot to write it because I wasn't sure where to put it, because it was kind of a little bit out of context. But there was one thing. I had a moment of a few weeks ago. I had a moment of feeling like someone didn't care and just getting a little bit hurt by it. In that moment, though, I'm like, well, this is all me. I'm the one who's instantly going there, right? So there's this little piece. So, but I'm remembering back to all the years that I had major depression and didn't want to live. That was daily basis. Did not want to live for 25 years, and so there's an affirmation that I wanted to put out there for anybody who is experiencing depression. There's an affirmation that I just want people to just say it every day. Have it somewhere in their house to just say it. You don't have to believe your affirmations. That's the beauty of this. That's what's so wonderful. Say this affirmation. People care about me. People care about me. Because when you are feeling depressed, that is one of the go-to thoughts that people go to, is people don't care about me. And when you think that nobody cares about you, that depression goes way down even worse, to the point of, I don't want to be here anymore. And so that is an affirmation. People care about me. And you don't have to believe it. So that little piece of advice would really help people not to get so low in those moments, and just affirm it. Say it in those moments. So if you do experience depression at all, low moments, low moods, right? It's all those thoughts of, right, not mattering to people, not just life sucks, things aren't working out, right? But but when you're feeling all these things about yourself, it gets reflected back, right? This is the cycle that continues. It's so awful when you're in it. It's so awful, and it's hard to get out of. It's hard because of that that level of thinking in that moment, right? So when you're thinking that way, it's your world is responding in that way, and it's really hard to get out of, because unless you change your thoughts, you can't get out of that, right? So you have to change your thoughts to a thought of like, oh, people care about me. People care about me. People care about me. I am loved. Think of one person who loves you, right? Somebody loves you. Get a dog. If you think nobody loves you, get a dog. That thing will love you more than anything has ever loved you in your life. My dog saved me many times in the past. So then you say, you know what? My dog loves me. Someone loves me. So to pull yourself out of that moment, because the problem with depression is, or any state like that, is your reality reflects back the thoughts that you're having. And it becomes this vicious cycle. So if you're having the thoughts, so once you get out of the depression, the goal is to never allow yourself to get there. You can, though. Obviously, you can get there if you just have some thoughts, right? If you have your thoughts, like you watch Jesus, I go on TikTok and all of a sudden there's, sad videos or one sad video and I'm like, got sucked into it. Then there's more sad I'm sitting here crying because somebody's putting their dog down. I'm like, why are we having this on TikTok? This is ridiculous. And so I start crying because it's a dog. It's like the one thing that will make me cry. And then there's more. And I'm like, well, this is really depressing, right? And what you do is you just keep flipping through those TikToks and not watching the rest, right? You don't keep watching them. Don't play the sad music on the radio, right? Don't keep it going. You have to get yourself out of it. Once you get yourself out of it, don't get back into it. That's the key. That's what's kept me out of depression, is to not dwell in that state at all. Like, don't go there. That's why being emotionally balanced, being emotionally like not reacting, not allowing myself, having that really, I used to call it hardcore mindset, just having that hardcore mindset of, no, I'm not allowing myself to go there. Based on my past, I'm not allowing myself to go there. So, anyway. Does anybody have any questions? Anything? I know I just went like to another place on that last bit. But I wanted to put that out there because I had the thought. So it's all about your thinking. So in any dark moments, you have to remind yourself, wait, I need some new good thoughts here. Because the thoughts are the lifesavers, right? They are the life, what is it? The emergency raft. It's going to pull you out. The new thoughts. So it's just like that, exactly the same thing. Like what I say, how you manifest one thing is exactly how you manifest every single thing, no matter what it is. Major depression or an SP, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. Starts with your thoughts. Your thoughts will get you out of that state and put you in the state that you want to be in. But you have to choose the right thoughts. It's all the same. Fill in the blank of whatever that topic is. It doesn't matter what the topic is. That's why I have the pet peeve of these manifestation coaches that are like, I've worked with too many to know this too well. That like, well, I need help manifesting clients. I'm like, are you manifesting anything? Because if you can manifest anything, like one thing, you can manifest anything. So if you're telling me you don't know how to manifest clients or money or this or that, you need to go back and figure this out. Does that make sense? Pet peeve. This is too important to mess around with. So, fill in the blank, whatever it is. People care about me. People love me. I make $10,000 a month. So-and-so loves me. Whatever it is, whatever it is. Let me make sure I'm not missing out on any comments. I'm just checking my phone for comments. I think we're good. You guys have just been listening, which is cool. So join me in the manifesting zone if you want more help like this. So there we go. It's all the same. Like, I mentioned this the other day. My page. Let's go behind the scenes. I haven't even looked at this in a long, long time. Maybe a month or so. I don't know. How did I get a lot of people, new followers? Right. Just in the last 28 days, I have almost 2,000 followers. 1.3 million reach. That's actually pretty low. Last month was 2.5 million. But, well, it's last 28 days. So, how do you get stuff like that? I've got more men following me. It's usually 25%, 75% women. How do you get... All I do is post a couple times a day, sometimes not even that. But I affirmed I have millions of followers. Well, we're still getting there. We're still getting there. I had 12,000 or 10,000 last August. Now we're at 45,000. And I had my page for 4.5 years. I started affirming I have millions of followers. My posts go viral. Then my posts go viral. You can look back. Post reach 24,000, 68,000. Let's look at some really good ones. 178,000, 80,000, 353,000 reach. Reach is what engagement is enormous too. 45,000 people engaged, which means they liked it, shared it, or made a comment, or all three. My posts go viral. I say that. I don't even say it every day now, which I need to. But 102,000 reached. My page has 45,000 followers. And I have, it's just because I affirm for it. I say, I have millions of followers. My posts go viral. Let's keep going. 115,000 reached. 104,000 reached. I don't do anything but post when I feel like posting. Somebody messaged me a while back asking if I hire somebody to run my page. I'm like, if I hired somebody to run my page, what would I be doing? I don't believe in hiring out the stuff that I do. Shh, my dog's growling. I don't believe in that because this is my energy. This is me. This is me. This is inspired action right here. This is me affirming and doing inspired action. The things that I have to do, running a page, sharing inspiration, writing some of this stuff, right? Writing some of this is the inspiration part. It's my work. What would I be doing if I hired this out? I probably wouldn't be getting the numbers that I do. People say Facebook business pages are dead. Well, if you say that, then it will be. Mine's not, because I don't believe in that crap. I say Facebook business pages are one of the best things here. I don't have a clue why he's growling. But anyhow, that's just an example of affirm. And I only did that for a few days, and then I had a viral post pop off. And then I started getting hundreds of people, and I did this a few years ago too when I first started the page, I was getting like 50 people a day in my group, and then I was getting 100, 150, 200 people a day of new followers because I was affirming back then. I actually was affirming back then, about 4 years ago. And then I just didn't stay consistent with it, and then it kind of died off. So it's all the same. How do you manifest one thing? It's the same thing, just your thoughts. I have millions of followers. So what do? I look at the number once every day pretty much because it's there. And I just keep affirming I have millions of followers, or I have 1 million followers. And then I just keep posting. I have 1 million followers, but I don't do anything else. I have 1 million followers. My posts go viral daily. And then I move on with my day. Same thing with everything. It's all the same. Okay, guys. Like I said, join me in the manifesting zone, and I can help you even more. You can get into all my lessons and get on the live coaching calls every week. But right now, I'll be back tomorrow at the same time talking about more stuff about manifesting. But thank you so much for being here, and Have an amazing. I feel